Did you think you knew the whole truth about our Bears? A dramatic physical transformation of our star receiver, an offensive line smashing the rankings, and a brutal revelation about our quarterback that will change everything. 3 stories that will shake up everything you thought about this season. What's coming is absolutely explosive, so stick around because this is unmissable. Look, let me tell you something that many don't want to admit, and that's that Rome Odunze didn't have the rookie season we all expected. Were you nervous seeing those 54 receptions and 734 yards? But let me ask you directly. Did you really understand what was happening behind the scenes? Because I believe most of you were led by unfair criticism. Some even compared him to Kevin White. Can you believe that? Kevin White, the receiver who could never stay healthy. I'm telling you that comparison is absolutely ridiculous and unfair. What bothers me is that people expected unrealistic fantasy football numbers from day one. They wanted to see 1,000 yards and 100 receptions from a rookie who had to compete for targets with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Cole Kmet. In what universe was that realistic? But here's what's going to silence everyone for good. Rome Odunze just completed a physical transformation that's going to completely change his game. And when I say transformation, I'm not talking about a small adjustment. I'm talking about a complete rebuild of his physique. He confessed something to me that left me stunned. I felt my strength wasn't where it needed to be to handle the NFL style of play. Did you hear that? A receiver who came in with a RAS of 9.91, admitting he wasn't physically ready to dominate in this league. And do you know what he did during the entire offseason? He worked like an animal. I definitely put on some pounds and lost fat mass, Odunze admitted. These are things I continue to monitor and try to perfect. I'm telling you this with absolute certainty. Odunze came into the league at 212 pounds. Now, although he didn't want to reveal the exact number, he's built like a true NFL warrior. Have you seen what a receiver can do when they finally have the strength to win those physical 50-50 battles in the air? But it's not just about weight. Odunze explained something fundamental. I think battling with hands is a huge part. There's a lot of meticulous grabbing in this league that doesn't always show, and I felt I needed to develop upper body mass to combat some of that, and also those 50-50 balls. Do you understand what this means? Odunze realized it wasn't just about speed or route technique, it was about pure physical power to dominate at the catch point. Being able to be physical at the catch point and at the top of the routes, that's the key. And here comes something that has me completely excited. Ben Johnson, our new offensive coordinator, was absolutely impressed with what he saw in spring training. "I'm extremely impressed," said Johnson. "For a second-year player, you'd expect a bit more inconsistency. However, the way he approaches the meeting room, rehearsals, field work, drills, it's very much like a seasoned pro, some of the best I've known." Did you hear that? Johnson has worked with some of the best receivers in the league in Detroit, and he's comparing Odunze to seasoned pros. I believe this is a clear sign of what's to come. But here's the part that has me most excited. I'm telling you, people are completely underestimating what it means to have Ben Johnson designing plays specifically for this new Rome Odunze. Johnson is known for creating schemes that leave the receivers completely open, not relying so much on those 50-50 battles. And do you know what else changed this year? He no longer has to compete with Keenan Allen for targets. Allen's gone, and now it's Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, and the rest of the crew fighting for the remaining opportunities. I believe this change is going to be decisive. Let's talk context here, because I believe people don't understand how impressive his rookie season really was. Jerry Rice, the greatest receiver of all time, didn't surpass 1,000 yards or 50 receptions in his first season. He had exactly the same 3 touchdown catches as Odunze. Cal Van Johnson, Megatron himself, had fewer receptions than Odunze as a rookie, and nearly the same yards, 756 compared to 734. Michael Irvin had only 32 receptions and 654 yards. Chris Carter had barely 5 receptions and 84 yards. Do you see the pattern? Isaac Bruce, Andre Reed, Tim Brown, Terrell Owens, all these future Hall of Famers had similar or worse rookie seasons than Rome Odunze. And I ask you, why did we expect Odunze to be different? The answer is simple. Because we live in an era of instant expectations fueled by fantasy football and social media. But the reality is that great receivers need time to develop, especially when they are playing with a rookie quarterback in a dysfunctional offensive system. And do you know what the real problem was last year? Shane Waldron and his completely disastrous offense. That offense was so bad, it ended with Waldron being fired after a humiliating 19-3 loss at home against New England. How did they expect any receiver to shine in that chaos? But now everything has changed. We have Ben Johnson, a coordinator who knows how to maximize the talent of receivers. We have Caleb Williams with a year of experience. And we have a Rome, Odunze, who is physically prepared to I tell you, 2025 is going to be the year you see the real Rome Odunze. Not just because he's stronger, but because he finally has the system and support he needs to shine. This physical transformation is just the... Now let me tell you about something that has everyone in the NFL absolutely buzzing, and that's that Pro Football Focus just declared we have the second best guard duo in the entire league. Did you hear that right? The second best of all 32 teams. Let me ask directly, when was the last time you heard anyone talk positively about our offensive line? When was the last time the Bears were mentioned in the same sentence with elite when it came to quarterback action? Because I believe the answer is never. And that's exactly why this news is so explosive. Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus have accomplished something that seemed impossible. Building an offensive line that experts expect. Joe Thuney came in as the number 2 guard in the entire NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. Do you understand the magnitude of what this means? This man isn't just good, he's elite among the elite. He had a 90.4 pass blocking grade season. He didn't allow a single sack all season. Can you guess that? A guard who played hundreds of snaps and didn't let his quarterback get sacked even once side. I'm telling you, that's not luck. That's absolute dominance. And he's led the league in pass blocking grade for 4 consecutive seasons. But here comes what has me most excited. This wasn't an easy acquisition. Thuney had options. He could have gone to any contending team. And do you know why he chose Chicago? Because of the vision Poles and the coaching staff sold him. He believed in the project. And then we have Jonah Jackson, whom the Rams literally gave away because they didn't know what to do with him. The Rams. Can you believe it? A team that just won the Super Bowl a few years ago, and they dumped Jackson because he didn't fit. I think the Rams are going to regret this decision for years. During his 2 seasons with Ben Johnson in Detroit, Jackson was in the 93rd percentile in run blocking. 93rd percentile. That means he was better than 93% of all guards in the league in that aspect. And do you know what's even crazier? Jackson signed a 3-year, $51 million contract with the Rams last year. $51 million. And after a season plagued by injuries and position changes, they traded him to Chicago virtually for free. This is the definition of a trade draft steal. We got a Pro Bowl guard for pennies on the dollar, and now he's reunited with Ben Johnson, the coordinator who knows best how to utilize him. But wait, because I'm done. Drew Dahlman, our new center, is ranked as the 5th best center in the entire league by Pro Football Focus. The 5th best. Do you know what it means to have the 5th best center in the NFL protecting our quarterback? Dahlman comes from Atlanta, where he earned a reputation as one of the best run-blocking centers in the game. His 93.8 run grade with PFF is nearly perfect. And guess what type of offense Ben Johnson runs? A heavy zone offense where run block is essential. I want to tell you this, so you understand clearly. When you have the 5th best center in the league and the 2nd best guard duo, you're not talking about a respectable offensive line. You're talking about an elite offensive line. And do you know what's even crazier? Pro Football Focus also ranked our 2 tackles among the top 32 at their positions. That means literally every projected starter on our offensive line is among the best in the league at their position. Let me ask you directly, when was the last time you could say that about the Chicago Bears? When was the last time we had 5 starters on the offensive line who were nationally respected? The answer is, we've never had this. Not in the days of Walter Payton. Not during our Super Bowl run in 2006. We've never had an offensive line that was considered among the best in the league from end to end. And do you know what this means for Caleb Williams? It means for the first time in his career, he will have real time in the pocket. He will be able to go through his receiver progressions without worrying about immediate pressure. I believe you don't fully understand what this is going to change. Last year, Williams had to make snap decisions constantly because he knew the pressure was coming. Now he will be able to trust his protection and truly show why he was the first overall pick. But here's the part that has me most excited about this offensive line. It's not just about pass protection. With Delman and Jackson specializing in run blocking, and with Ben Johnson designing a zone scheme that maximizes their strengths, we're going to have a ground game that perfectly complements our aerial attack. Do you remember what Johnson did with the ground game in Detroit? He turned average backs into serious threats. Now imagine what he can do with an offensive line that's ranked among the best in the league. And here's something I want you to consider. Pro Football Focus not only ranked our guards as the second best duo, implicitly, considering that none of the centers ranked above Dalman play for a team on their list of best guard duos, we may have the best interior offensive line in the entire NFL. The best interior offensive line. The Chicago Bears. Can you believe I'm saying those words in the same sentence? I'm telling you, this transformation didn't happen by accident. This was a meticulous plan executed by Ryan Poles. He identified exactly what this team needed and went after it aggressively. Thuney, Jackson, Dullman, all were specific acquisitions to build the protection Caleb Williams needs. And most importantly, all these players are in their prime years. Thuney is 31, but still playing at an elite level. Jackson is 27, and entering his best years. Dalman is 28, and at his physical peak. This is not a temporary fix. This is an offensive line built to dominate over the next 3 to 5 years, exactly during Caleb Williams' competitive window. And now comes the bombshell that's going to change everything you thought about Caleb Williams and his first year in Chicago. It turns out our number one quarterback originally didn't want to play for the Bears. Can you believe that? He even considered joining the UFL to avoid coming to Chicago altogether. According to Seth Wickersham's upcoming book from ESPN, Williams specifically requested the Bears trade their number one overall pick to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota, our divisional rivals. He preferred going to play for the Vikings rather than for us. I'm telling you, when I first read that, I was upset. I was extremely upset. Because here we were, excited to have the most talented quarterback we've selected in decades, and it turns out he didn't want to be here. But after processing all the information, I think I understand exactly why Williams felt that way. And frankly, after what I discovered about how he was handled during his first season, I don't blame him. Here comes the part that really has me furious. Williams admitted publicly that during his first season, he didn't receive proper guidance in the film room. Matt Eberflus and his staff just didn't know how to prepare a rookie quarterback. It wasn't that I didn't know how to watch film, Williams explained in May. It was more about learning shortcuts, learning ways to watch film, and be more efficient, learning ways to pick up things better. Did you hear that? Our number one quarterback had to figure out on his own how to study effectively in the NFL because his coaching staff didn't know how to teach him. That's absolutely inexcusable. And let me ask you, how do you expect a quarterback to develop adequately if he doesn't have the basic guidance he needs? How do you expect him to make the right decisions on Sunday if he doesn't know what to look for during the week? This is where Alex Smith comes in, and his perspective opened my eyes completely. Smith, who knows exactly what it's like to be a number one overall pick with massive expectations, explains something crucial. I spent years wandering in the film room, not knowing what to look for. It took me years and years and years to find my own way on how to do this efficiently. Years and years and years. Alex Smith, a quarterback who had a successful career and made it to the Pro Bowl, admits it took him years to learn how to study effectively. And we expected Williams to master it instantly without proper guidance. Smith continued explaining something that I find I basically ran 20 to 25 plays in college over and saw 3 defense. Very basic stuff. It's not that hard to prepare. But in the NFL, you have a new game plan every week, so it's completely new offensive formations, shifts, motions, and obviously by a multiple of 10 to 20, and that changes every week. Do you understand the complexity of what Williams faced? At USC, he had a relatively simple system. In the NFL, every week is like learning an entirely new language. And Eberflus's staff basically left him alone to figure it all out. But here's the part that really frustrates. Smith explained, sometimes as a young quarterback, you don't know what to ask. You don't want to sound stupid, so you don't. Get the clarification you should. I'm telling you, this perfectly describes what happened to Williams. A 22-year-old, the number 1 overall pick, with all the pressure in the world on his shoulders, and he was afraid to ask questions because he didn't want to seem inadequate. And do you know what's most frustrating about all of this? That Williams was never the problem. The problem was the system surrounding him. The problem was a coaching staff that didn't know how to develop a young quarterback. Look at the numbers again with this context. Williams completed 62.1% of his passes, threw for 3,541 yards, 20 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions as a rookie. Those are solid numbers for any rookie quarterback, but especially impressive considering he was basically learning on the fly without proper guidance. And do you remember how Shane Waldron's season ended? A humiliating 19-3 loss. At home against New England. That was so bad Waldron was fired immediately after. Williams had to navigate that complete offensive dysfunction for most of his rookie season. But here comes the hopeful part. And that's why I believe 2025 is going to be completely different. Ben Johnson came in and immediately took a completely different approach with Williams. He's working directly with him on specific technical aspects, from foot mechanics to read progression. Johnson isn't like Eberflus or Waldron. This is a coordinator who developed Jared Goff from an average quarterback to an MVP candidate. He knows exactly how to maximize a quarterback's talent. And then there's Case Keenum. The Bears specifically brought in Keenum to be the mentor Williams never had during his first season. With 80 games of NFL experience, Keenum understands exactly what Williams is going through. Smith had a similar experience in San Francisco in 2008 when the team brought in Trent Dilfer and Sean Hill to help him. It was a lot of trial and error over the years, and finally figuring out what works for you and how to really do it efficiently. For Williams, Keenum is going to serve as his Dilfer and Hill. Someone who's been in the trenches, who knows the shortcuts, who can teach him how to study efficiently and how to translate that study to the field. And you know, what has me most excited? Williams is already showing signs of maturity and growth. Publicly admitting he needed help with film study shows a level of self-awareness that many rookie quarterbacks have. I believe Williams is going to have a significant leap in his second season, similar to the one Alex Smith had when he finally got the right guidance. Smith eventually made the Pro Bowl and had a successful career. Why can't Williams do the same, or better, with his superior talent? The difference is that now Williams has everything Smith initially didn't. An elite offensive coordinator, an experienced mentor, a solid offensive line, and talent receivers. All the element place. I'm telling you, the narrative around Williams is going to completely change this year. It's not going to be about whether he can handle the pressure or if he's ready for the NFL. It's going to be about how high his ceiling can go with the right team around him. And here is my prediction. Williams is going to have a Josh Allen-like season in his second year. Allen also had a tough rookie season, but when Buffalo gave him the right system and support, he exploded into stardom. I think Williams is on the same trajectory. Look, after everything you've just heard, let me ask you directly. Do you think these Bears are ready to surprise everyone in 2025? Because I firmly believe they are. A Rome Odunze physically transformed and mentally prepared to dominate, an offensive line that is the envy of the entire league, and a Caleb Williams who finally has the system and support he needs to reach his elite potential. Do you think this combination can take us not only to the playoffs, but on a deep run in January? Or do you believe there's still something missing for us to compete with the top teams in the conference? And the most important question of all, is Ben Johnson assembling the most explosive offense we've seen in Chicago in decades? Because, let me tell you something, and I say this with absolute conviction, all the elements are aligning perfectly for something special. The physical transformation of Odunze makes him an unstoppable weapon. The elite offensive line gives Williams the protection he needs. And Williams, with the right guidance, is ready to show why he was the first overall pick. I believe we are about to witness something historic. We are talking about an offense that could break franchise records. We are talking about a season that could change the narrative of the Chicago Bears forever. And you know what? If you've made it this far, it means you're a true Bears fan who lives and breathes this team just like I do. That's why I invite you, no, I challenge you to subscribe right now to this channel. Because here you will find the most exclusive news, the deepest analysis, and the most genuine passion for our Chicago Bears. Like this video if you believe these Bears are going to surprise everyone in 2025. Subscribe if you want to be part of this family that bleeds blue and orange. And leave me a comment on which of these 3 stories got you the most excited and why you think it's going to be the most important factor in our success. Because at the end of the day, we are not just scattered fans watching from the stands. We are a family united by something bigger than ourselves. A family that has patiently waited for this moment, that has suffered through disappointments, and that is now ready to celebrate together. This is our chance to be part of something special. This is our chance to witness the rebirth of the Chicago Bears. And I want you to be here for every moment of this incredible journey. Subscribe now, join this family, and let's roar together when these Bears prove they're the kings of the North once again. Bear down always, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll continue dissecting every move that brings us closer to glory.